If I hear one more person say, just be consistent, I may actually lose my mind. Because most women I know are consistent, consistently thinking, consistently carrying emotional weight, consistently managing 10 invisible things at once. So when business still feels hard, it's not because you're lazy or you're not good enough. It's because the rules weren't written with you in mind. And today I want to explain exactly why. I want to talk about something that quietly messes with a lot of women in business. Why advice that technically makes sense still somehow feels impossible to follow. Why you can be ambitious, capable, motivated, and still feel overwhelmed 5 minutes into your workday. And why so many women end up thinking there must be something wrong with me when actually there isn't. This episode is not about men versus women in a dramatic internet way. Relax. It's about patterns. It's about nervous system. And it's about why most business strategies weren't built for a type of brain and a lifestyle that a lot of women simply don't have. Most business advice is built around how men often operate. Linear, one thing at a time. Clear goals, clear execution, very result test driven. And to be clear, that works. That's why this advice is everywhere. But women often live a very different reality. Our brains don't shut off. We carry emotional context. We track things no one asked us to track, right? We felt responsible when no one actually officially made us responsible. Sounds familiar, right? So when a woman tries to build a business the same way, she doesn't feel focused. She feels overwhelmed. And then she assumes the problem is her, and it's not. Let me say something clearly. If you feel scared, tired, or behind, that's not a discipline problem. That's a nervous system problem, especially if you have an ADHD brain. Fast ideas, big vision, no off switch. You don't need more motivation. You don't need more pressure. You don't need to push harder. You need less noise. Overwhelmed doesn't mean you're failing. Remember this. It means the system you are using doesn't fit you. This is exactly why Stop Then Do It exists. Not as a quote, not as motivation, and not as something you have supposed to repeat to yourself all day long. It exists as a way to slow everything down, just enough to hear yourself again. When I say stop, I don't mean quitting. I don't mean giving up. I mean stopping the spiral, stopping the automatic reaction, stopping the noise long enough to see what's actually happening. And once you stop, like really stop, the next step becomes obvious. You naturally start asking yourself, what actually matters right now? Not long term, not someday, right now. And from that place, you don't do 10 things. You do one aligned step, one decision that makes sense for you. That's how actually clarity comes back. And that's how women build businesses without burning themselves out. Let me talk to you honestly, no filter, I promise. When I first started my business, I built it almost entirely in masculine energy. I pushed, I executed, I moved fast. I lived in survival mode. And yes, it worked. I built a six-figure business in less than 2 years. On paper, very impressive. But here is what that speed cost me. I was exhausted, disconnected, and I didn't lose myself dramatically. I lost myself quietly, the kind of lose where you're still functioning, but you don't feel like you anymore. And Stop Then Do It didn't start as a method. It started as my survival skill at that moment. All my life, when something felt wrong, when my brain was too loud, when I felt overwhelmed, I stopped. Not gently, not romantically. I literally ordered myself to stop. Sometimes I had to fight with myself to do it, and honestly, dealing with myself is the hardest thing. Trust me on this. I'm not crazy, I simply just know myself. So, what I now call stop then do it is the same instinct, but done consciously. When I stopped it long enough, I could finally see the real situation. Not the panic version, not the pressure version, the truth. I could see how the business was actually doing, where it was going, and how I could keep growing it without abandoning myself in the process. That's when balance actually entered the picture. Not the perfect balance, let's be real, but real balance. How do I grow the business and have a private life? How do I keep building and come back to myself? How do I allow feminine energy back in without losing my ambition? Because I know I'll always have both energies in me. That's simply me. I needed balance. And honestly, when feminine energy came back into my life, I felt reborn. Everything I achieved in my business, I was actually going to achieve it. I had the talent, I had the clarity, I had the skills, I had the product people love, I had the vision. Success was coming. Masculine energy just made it faster, but it burned me out. Feminine energy may take a little more time, maybe, but it lets you build success and still be yourself while you do it. Here is the real point. As women, we often have more to do, but we also have more to experience. Pregnancy, birth, breastfeeding, raising children, caring, creating a home, beauty, fashion, softness, straight, simply being a woman. That's not a weakness. That's a full, rich life. And that's actually why slowing down matters more for us. Stop Then Do It isn't about doing less because we're weak. It's about slowing down so we don't miss our lives. or ourselves while building a dream life or a business. Women don't need to work less, and we don't need to work more. We simply need to work differently. Masculine energy builds, feminine energy sustains. One without the other leads to burnout every time. If something in your life or business feels heavy, listen to that. Stop. Notice what no longer fits. Then ask yourself what you actually want and do it. One small aligned step. Okay? Not to prove anything, not to keep up, but to take care of yourself and your future. And remember, you're not behind, you're just finally paying attention. And I want to remind you of this. The world we live in right now is fast. Too fast. Everything is about more money, more pressure, more noise. But a peaceful life, a small, intentional world that feels like yours. The ability to live slowly, notice your days, enjoy your life while you're building. That's real luxury. Money matters, yes, and money will come. It always does when you're aligned and building something real. But money is something we spend. Life is something we live. So with Stop Then Do It methods and community I want to build we have very simple goal. Build a business who will give us some money, but also a freedom to enjoy our life. That means create a business to work for us, not us working for our business. Because I know so many entrepreneurs who work even more than 9 to 5. Like they just become entrepreneurs and they work 24/7. We don't want to build that type of business and lifestyle with Stop Then Do It methods. Until the next episode, if this episode hits you, make sure you follow and give me a comment. I want to hear all your thoughts about this episode. Agree, disagree, and anything you want to add on. And I'm so thankful for everyone who is part of Stop Then Do It community. Until next time, bye.